Yo, what's up? I'm back. Another movie review. I actually saw this movie last night, but it was too late for me to record, so I'm doing it today. This review is going to be for the highly anticipated, highly hyped movie right now, BirdBox, starring Sandra Bullock. I found out about this film 2 days ago through all the tweets, through all the Facebook statuses, and it basically got my interest. I was curious because everybody's talking about it right now, so I wanted to see it for myself what the hype is all about. Saw it last night, and to be short, it was disappointing. Massively, massively disappointing. This is one of those type of films where the ending ruins the whole film. Just ruins the whole film. It was 2 hours of a waste of time. Like, it had me all the way up to the end. Like, it just missed, man. It could have been a really good movie. It could have been something really interesting, and it did build up that interest. It did build up that suspense. I was hooked, man. I was hooked all the way through, and then the end happened, and I'm like, that's it. Like, what's this? What's that? What's going on? Like, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Like, there's just so many questions that was left unanswered, and I don't know why they decided to go that route. Like, cause this film is actually like a M Night Shyamalan film. Like, to be honest, like this film is just like an M Night Shyamalan movie minus the twist. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they said that M Night Shyamalan was the producer or something, because this is like his movie to the T, minus a major twist. But pretty much it's an M Night Shyamalan movie. But yeah, it was good. But like I said, that ending, man, it didn't explain anything at all. It had you so gripped. It had you just like immersed into what was going on. You wanted to know like what the heck was happening, especially like towards the end. It just felt like it was building up to something. It was like building you up to something. Like something was gonna happen, like a major twist, a major plot twist was gonna happen, but it never did, and it doesn't explain anything. So now I'm sitting here like, well, what's this and what's that and what's that? What's this? I was actually gonna watch this again just to give like a more thorough review. But after thinking about it, I'm like, I don't want to sit through that again. I do not want to sit through 2 more hours of that again, man, because it was such a big letdown. Like, this film is a huge letdown. Missed opportunity to the core. Man, Now, usually with my reviews, I don't go into, the plot or anything like that, what the movie is about. I don't like to spoil it, but this one, I'm making an exception. We're going to some spoilers here and basically what the movie is about. I don't want to go into detail, see if it's seeing what happened. Basically, pretty much, you just got this massive plague. That's the best way I could put it. This massive plague is going on where you can't see outside. You can't look outside. If you look outside, you'll be infected and you'll be, like, possessed to kill yourself, pretty much. Like, if you look outside, you'll be possessed and you will kill yourself. And there's thousands of people that's just running frantic in the streets. They're killing themselves off left and right. Everybody, like the whole world, is just going into turmoil because they're being infected by this thing. You don't know what it is. It's kind of alluded in the movie that it could be like a spiritual entity, like it could be a deity, or like it could be like evil spirits or demons or whatever. But they never really fully explain what it is. You don't even know what it looks like, because throughout the movie, like when the person looks outside, you don't see what they're looking at. So you're just looking at them, you just see their eyes change, and then all of a sudden they just go crazy, and then they just end up killing themselves. So you don't know what's out there, you don't know what they're infected by, you don't know what these beings look like. Actually, there was one scene in the movie where they let in, because basically Sandra Bullock's character, she goes inside of somebody's house because she was trapped outside with her sister. Her sister got infected early on in the movie and she ended up killing herself. So she had to end up finding this guy's house, She ends up staying in this guy's house basically to survive, and she's in this house with other people. So she's one of the first people to enter in the house, but then eventually more people come inside the house as the movie goes along. So it's a group of these people inside the house trying to stay alive. Well, towards the middle of the movie, one person comes inside the house, and basically pretty much there's one scene where he's like drawing a bunch of just like demonic pictures on the on the table or whatever. Well, he has a paper and a pencil, and he's just like drawing these sketches of like evil spirits, and they just look like real creepy. Like he's just drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing it, and like the whole house is like they have paper blocking the window so nobody can see outside, so they can't be affected. So after he starts drawing, he starts like ripping the papers off of the windows, and like he's telling, he's trying to convince everybody to look outside. It's beautiful, because in this movie you have like the people who looks outside and then they get affected and they kill themselves. But then you have these like certain group of people that they're not really affected when they look outside, and they convince other people to look out to be possessed by this entity. That's the best way I could put it, by this spirit, to kill themselves. So the movie never explains like what was all that about. And then you have like these birds. Now the birds is almost like a signal, because the birds could pick up where these entities are, and if the entities are close, then the birds start going crazy. So like throughout the movie, like throughout the film, there's one scene where they had to go out and get food, and Sandra Bullock, she spots a couple birds inside the store, so she decided to pick them up. I guess, was that in the supermarket where she found the birds? I think it was. I'm pretty sure that it was in that supermarket where she found the birds, because that's when they found out that whenever the spirit is close to possessing you, the birds start just flapping like crazy. So the birds is almost used as like a signal, as to, let them know like the spirit is close or whatever. The spirit or force or whatever. Like I said, the movie never explained this stuff. They never explain what is actually happening. So, yeah, in the movie, like I said, you have two different people. You have the people who looks outside and they're like automatically possessed and they end up committing suicide. And then you have certain groups of people who looks outside and they're like possessed in a different way, to where it's like they don't end up killing themselves. They actually convince other people to look outside who's not trying to look out, so they could be possessed, and then they end up killing themselves. So the movie never goes into any explanation as to, well, why is that? Like is there two different entities going around at once? Like, why is a certain group of people affected one way and another group of people affected another way? Never explains that. Also with the birds, they never really explain what the significance of the birds are, because there's like couple scenes in here where they like kind of focus on the birds, and you're thinking like the birds are like a kind of like a major plot point as to the way how the movie builds it up. You kind like, at least to me, like when I saw the film, like I thought the birds were like a major plot point to explain what these entities are. I thought eventually they will like go into explanation as to the importance of the birds. Like, why is the bird so important? I mean, the title of the movie is BirdBox, so it has to be something with the birds. So I don't know what the significance is with the birds and this thing that's going around. I don't know. They never really explained it. It's like big clue, Also, too, like if the birds are supposed to be like a signal for when these entities are close, then why do you have to keep your eyes covered at all times? Like, if you have a bird with you and they're supposed to be a warning sign as to, if the bird's supposed to be the warning sign to when these spirit entities are close, then why do you need to cover your eyes at all times? Because that means that the spirit, that this entity or this thing is not outside at all times. It has to be a certain point where it's just going around in a certain area, and when it comes close, then that's when the birds act up. So I don't know why, like, you have to keep your eyes covered at all times when you're outside. And also in the beginning too, when Sandra Bullock is in the car with her sister, like their eyes are open in the beginning, and her sister gets possessed, but Sandra Bullock doesn't get possessed, and they're in the car together. So like I said, there's a lot of open-ended questions, just a lot of like plot holes that doesn't really get answered, and you're just left with more questions than answers in the end. Like I said, it's a big waste of time. Now thinking about it, I think that they, I don't know, like this film, I don't know what they was trying to go for. I think they wanted it to leave it open ended. I think they just wanted to leave it up to the audience interpretation. I think this is one of those films because I feel like, maybe in the next coming weeks, you're going to see a whole bunch of theories as to what this entity is, what the significance of the birds are. Like, I feel like this is that type of film. This is that type of film where you're just going to get a bunch of theories, a bunch of just like, you know, uh, analysis on what this movie is actually about. And if that's what they were going for, then hey, I think they nailed it because they didn't really explain nothing. So you don't know what the heck is going on, even when you watch it all the way to beginning to the end. Um, it's just one of those things where you just got to figure out for yourself and you got to draw your own conclusion. So yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it had potential to be great. It had the potential to be good, but in the end, it just let you down. And I felt like it was a huge letdown. Maybe in the future, if I look it up on YouTube, somebody will explain it, as to what it may mean. But as it stands right now, it's just a massive disappointment. Now, this all could be salvaged if they announce a sequel, because how it ends, you could kind of make a sequel out of this. Like how it ends, it kind of, like I said, it ends kind of open ended with a lot of questions unanswered. So it's definitely possible that a sequel could come, especially with how popular it is right now. I think people will be like, "Yo, I need a sequel. I need to see more." If a sequel does get announced, I will watch it because I need to see what the hell is going on, because it had me interested. It had me like hooked. It had me intrigued as to what the hell was going on, but they never explained it. So I'm like, what the hell was all that for? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, like I just hope that they do a follow up to this movie. I feel like this film deserves a follow up because it needs an explanation. And like I said, maybe there's a bunch of people who already made videos on YouTube trying to explain this film, and I'm gonna have to maybe look it up to see what they say, and then, maybe think about it a little bit more, and maybe my thoughts will change. More likely not, but yeah, this is one of those films where it's like basically draw your own conclusion because they don't explain the major plot points. They don't explain what the hell is going on. It's just a survival movie, pretty much. It's a survival suspense thriller movie. Can't really call it horror because there's no really like horror aspects in it. I mean, I guess the whole entity spiritual thing, but they never really gave you a concrete answer as to if it's an actual spiritual entity or not. It's just, like I said, it's left up to your own interpretation. You basically have to take clues from certain scenes and you piece whatever theory you piece together, and you just write off that. So yeah, man, it's pretty much it for me. Now, does it live up to the hype? I could see why this movie was hyped up. I could see why. So I'm not really surprised at it. It's not one of those where I'm like, wait, hyping like that? Like, that's nah. But I could see why it was hyped up. I could see why. It definitely had that. It's one of those type of movies where everybody's going to be talking about it. So I could see why. I could see why. Just basically how the movie went and everything like that. Yeah, I could definitely see why this movie is being talked about right now. But like I said, huge waste of time. I wouldn't recommend you to go see it. Look up look it up on YouTube, man. Look up a review on YouTube and you'll save yourself 2 hours. Like that's my best advice. Don't waste your time to watch this film, man, because I'm telling you, by the end, you're just gonna be disappointed. You're just gonna feel like your whole time was wasted. So yeah, don't waste your time. Look it up on YouTube. I bet you'll find a real good review on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me, man. My voice is like I had a sore throat for the last couple of days, man. So my voice is not all the way there, and it's going out right now. So I think I gotta end it. So with that, that's it. That's my thoughts on the movie. I don't even think this is a really good review, but I'm gonna put it up anyway. So that's it, man.